everybody. It's me, PK. I'm back with another episode of PK Talking It Out. So today, this week, a lot of things were going on, so I didn't really know what I was going to talk about for this podcast or talk it out about, I should say. But today, what I think I'm going to talk about is a couple of things came to my mind when I started thinking about the podcast. So like I said, I try to do these really I do them on the day they come out, and I try not to really think about it because, again, I don't want it to be something I'm thinking too much over because I tend to do that, overthink things. So these podcasts are really spontaneous. So when they sound like they sound and stuff like that, keep that in mind that they are just spontaneous, recordings I'm doing. But anyway, today I did have three kind of some things I wanted to talk about. One was, I don't know if anybody saw the post I had put up, but I finished another term of school, because we're going to school. I've gone back to school at 58, well, 59. I keep forgetting I'm 59 and Lord knows just about to be 60. And I don't know why 50 did not hit me hard. 55 did not hit me hard. I was just like, okay, good, okay, it's a birthday. Woo, great. I have lived to 50. I have lived to 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. 59 started being like, oh, wait a minute, you about to be 60 years old. And then yesterday I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my good Lord, I am closer to 60 now, just, September. I'll be closer to 60 than any other number. Oh, good Lord. That just hit me so hard. Just like, you know why 60 is just hitting me so hard? Not in the way of, oh, you're just so old, but it is like it's a big number to me. It's a big number. And I think I am now starting to think about all the things you want to do that may start to have a bit of a uh limitation to them, I guess. I don't know if that's really the right word I'm looking for, but I feel like, ooh, 60, I'm about to be 60, and those things that I haven't accomplished or wanted to accomplish, do they be still stay so fresh to me? I think that's what the 60 is doing for me now. It's kind of putting time, it's making time matter so much more to me. And I'm actually trying to figure out how to like just be, and it's not negative. I don't really feel negative about 60. I feel like time, like that just now time means something to me. And I feel like I don't have time to waste on nothing. Like if it is not about being, put positive, being, having good energy, positive energy, all of that. If it is not about those things for myself and for others, can't, can't, I just got little time for that now because I'm like, you don't have time for it. So anyway, I think the 60 is just hitting me a little harder than any other year I think really ever hit me. And and I'm not even there yet, but it's just like thinking about the 60. And I only think it's because of time. Because I think at 60 you have to be realistic that, you don't have another 60 years. And if you do, you're certainly not probably going to be in a situation for 60 years you can do all the things you thought you was going to do by the time you was 60. So I think that may be what it is. It's just that. So anyway, that's just a little tidbit. That wasn't even really what I was going to be talking about today. But anyway, that's just a little tidbit. And if you there with me, you understand that. I mean, because it's just a different number, I think. But anyway, I feel, relatively good for the things that's going on in my life. And they've all kind of really hit me in the last few years. Have I been hit with all of the stuff I'm going through with me physically? So, if that's the case, I've had 50 something years of being, pretty healthy. So, and I'm not on, knocking at death's door or anything like that. Just got some things that got to be worked out, and maybe they don't have cures for them, but they can be worked out too. They're not as as tough as they are right now for me. So let's just say that they could be better and I'm getting to that. So, working on those things for sure, losing weight. So been trying to eat better so I can lose the weight that I've gained over the years and stuff, which I have. I saw my mom yesterday, and she said, that you could tell I had been losing weight. And I was like, yeah, my daughter's not feeding me. I'm not eating, not with my daughter anymore, who cooks really some great food, but probably food I shouldn't be indulging so much in, but delicious food nonetheless. Shout out to Alex. So anyway, on the food, but I do miss it. But since I'm not that, and I don't really cook like that, anymore, I think that's why I'm losing weight. It has nothing to do with, really anything else other than that. But that's a good, byproduct of that situation. But anyway, I wanted to talk about uh, grades. So my school. So I really started this with school. You see how I get to going sometime. But anyway, school. So I finished my oh wow, what is this, like my fourth term, I think. Fourth or fifth term. Because the way my school is, it go by terms for their online students instead of like the whole semester. So you have 2 terms per semester. So I have completed, I think, my fifth term, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 'cause I'm about to go into my sixth. So anyway, that's all great news. And I think I may have mentioned before, I had statistics, and I even put it in the post. I showed those 2 grades. My statistic grade ended up being a B, which for me could might as well have been an A plus. Like that B I was so happy to have that B because oh my goodness, that statistics class, I've never in my whole time learning all kind of different things and everything. And, and I'm, pretty smart person, If I say so myself, I have, the intelligence to kind of learn whatever somebody's teaching me if I don't know it. However, statistics kept being just like every time I had to deal with the concepts and the formulas and the, finding out standard deviations and uh, probabilities. And I mean, it was just, I'm just saying the words. I'm not even gonna be able to tell you what really they about. But anyway, that's just how challenging this class was for me. I kept telling everybody this class is really getting me, but my grade would be okay because there was other work I could do. The work part of doing the report, we had to do like a report on a study that we had to, of one of the studies that they gave us or something. So I could do those things, and I could do some of the discussion thing, and I can do some of the assignments. But it was like that, the actual like statistical work of formulas and calculating, understanding that is still over my head, still over my head. Please don't. I don't want to ever hear standard deviation again, to tell you the truth. I don't want to hear probability again. I really just don't want to hear none of those terms again. But anyway, because the formulas were not just regular type of formulas, it wasn't like, you know, uh, algebra or calculus or something where you're x, x squared minus, x y square or something. Okay, I can get that. But when you sit up and putting in symbols for pi and symbols for delta and omega and sigma and all of that, and then telling me, that's not even like a number. That's a formula. You got to figure out what that is. So it was just got really icky for me. And I was just so glad to pass it with that B because I'd done very, very well on the other, like the report and all that. So I'd done very, very, very well on that. So it all came to work out, but I don't want to have to do statistics again. And if you have done statistics and you know and you feeling me, put a comment in there because I need to know, was it just me? I don't think it was because there were a few people in my class putting notes in there too saying it was very hard. It was very challenging. But I got through it and got through with a B. That's my first B. So it broke my perfect 4.0 grade point. But like I said, that B to me might as well have been an A plus because that's how I feel about it. Just being able to get through it with a B is so fantastic because, luckily it was more about points than just the grades you got. Anyway, I'm so happy about that. So I got an A in the sociology class. I was doing intro to sociology and this intro to statistical, applied statistics or something like that. But anyway, so happy that class, and actually the sociology class wasn't challenging. It was just a very heavy class, the sociology, because of what we were, doing as far as the final report and some of the things we had to read about and articles and conversations we had to have. And I had actually had a there was one discussion I literally just physically could not participate in because it just was too close to home and it was too close to what is happening in our world overall with people and with the injustice, the inequality of things. And I just couldn't speak on it from the sociological lens that they always, that this class wanted you to kind of see things in. I really just couldn't get there. I couldn't get there without so much hurt and, and dismayed and disappointment in us as humans, with how we treating each other and stuff. And I don't know what had happened that week. Maybe there was just maybe a lot of stuff that happened in the world that got to me. So it just was a lot. And I just remember, oh, I can't even, I can't even talk about this. It just was too much to even write anything that was not gonna, just make me even feel worse. So I just let it go. I let it go. And I remember in letting it go, I couldn't do the thing. So I was like, oh, Jesus, I messed up my grade, but I'd done everything else, throughout the term. So that class was an A, and I ended up getting a really, getting a perfect score on my paper, my final paper. So I was ecstatic about that. So both final papers I got, perfect scores on. So I was really happy. So anyway, school's going great and wonderful, and I'm loving the learning. And I just feel like I just want to continue to learn. And I think I've now, kind of voiced it out to a few people. And I'll say it to you guys. I just feel like, even at like, 59 and a half, whatever I am, look at me putting a half on there now. But anyway, at almost 60, yeah, to pursue the academic learning route sounds probably, insane or really, you're 60. But, hey, why not? If I am to live, let's say I live another 20 years, 30 years. I, I don't, it won't take me 20 years to do the education I want to do for there. So if you're going to be, if the time is going to be given to me, well, then I feel like I can utilize learning. And so now I feel like I just want to go and I want to go until I can be, Dr. Pat, PhD, that is. So anyway, that's really where I'm at for the school. So I'll talk, that's where I'm at talking about that. But it's going great and wonderful. And I'll share more of those things with the school as I go along because I really got two interesting, well, I think both classes will be interesting, but in particular, I'm interested in the next class I'm taking, which is going to be ethical thinking. I think it's called ethical thinking or reasoning or something like that. And then the other one I think is persuasion and reason. I might be confusing them up a little bit, but I know one is ethical, one has persuasion in it. So I think they'll both be pretty interesting. One's English, of course, and one is, I guess, under the kind of the sociology uh, umbrella, I guess, but or humanities, I guess it probably would be far as ethics or whatever. But so they should be interesting classes, and I'll keep, instead of waiting till they're all over. I think I started, kind of talking about the classes more or something. I haven't really been talking about it because I really just wanted to kind of really make sure I was solid in being able to do these classes and, get the work done and do well. And so I am now. I think I'm really solid in it and I think I will continue to do well. And so pray for me on that, keep me lifted in spirit about, staying good with my grades and keeping that, I would like to get back to a 4.0, but I don't, know necessarily if I can now. But anyway, I like to, get up there or stay at least where I am now, which is, well, I guess, a B plus. So that works too. So I'll take that, and I thank God for all of the, for the ability to be able to still, use my mind in the way I'm doing it, and in such a and in such a positive way about it. So I'm happy with that. And then, so that's school and grades. So I'm, good with that. And we off this week. So that was wonderful. I never think since I've been going, I only had like 1 or 2 days off before I was right back in the next two classes. So this time was good to have the week off. And then we start again Labor Day, I think it is, or, day after Labor Day, I guess. But so I start back again next week with those two classes. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, how they're going, what the classes are, looking to be, because I have no real idea till you start these classes. Do you know what they're really going to be about? But anyway, so that's kind of really what I was talking out about that. And then I had another thing that had kind of happened that was funny, and it's being worked out now. But I just thought this was just hilarious to the effect of oh people, like you get form letters from either, whatever's going on. We've all gotten these kind of form letters. Well, anyway, been having an issue with trying to get physical therapy for my, and it started with my knee. I was supposed to get it for knee, and they denied it for the knee. Then my hip started being a bigger problem than my knee. So then my doctor tried to do it for the hip. That got denied now for the, I think, second or third time. But I had never seen what they really were saying they were denying it for. So finally got it denied again, got to get the letter that showed what they were determining on why they were denied. Because all I was getting from them was, you're over 21, which I'm like, duh, I'm certainly over 21. They kept saying, you're over 21, and the issue was chronic and not, an acute issue. So I was like, what? This doesn't even make sense. Physical therapy is really only thing I got besides medicine and physical therapy for your arthritis in your hip other than the surgery. So I'm like, really, y'all just gonna want me to have surgery on my hip? That doesn't even make sense, because the situation not getting better with the arthritis on my hips. So anyway, I was like, oh my goodness. So finally see this letter. I get it. It was a roundabout way to try to get the letter, but I got it. And then when I get it, oh my good Lord, this is too funny. I get the letter, and it says that they had determined, denied it because they reviewed it against they said children's, I'm not sure if I got all the words right, but it was children's disabilities and outpatient rehabilitation service plan. Yeah, right. Y'all heard me. Children's. They're using a children's physical therapy plan to address, to deny me physical therapy. I'm like, okay, nobody read this. Nobody sees I'm not a child. Like, I'm not a pediatric patient. Why would y'all be using a children's plan? It says, then the second sentence, and this, was reviewed by the medical director and a board certified pediatrician. I said, what? Okay, so y'all try to tell me not only do this letter just go on out here like that, but y'all actually saying somebody looked at my file and made this decision and still didn't say, oh, wait a minute, something not right. She's not a pediatric patient. Why would a pediatrician be reviewing anything to do with me? So the whole thing was just crazy. I finally think I got to the right people and all of this to kind of get this reversed, so they can realize, y'all done connected me to the wrong thing. But anyway, isn't that just like the weirdest thing though? That it would actually say people reviewed that information. definitely reviewed it because if they did review it, they would realize I'm not a pediatrician. I mean, I'm not a pediatric patient. I certainly shouldn't be having showings that's using a pediatric plan to make insurance claim determinations or whatever. I'm like, oh my good lord! So nobody could have possibly have looked at this. This thing just got clicked somewhere wrong, and ain't nobody realized this person is not. I'm sorry, I'm clapping my hands. But anyway, this person is not a pediatric patient. I mean, I just had to bust out laughing when I finally saw it, even though it's frustrating because I'm like, all this been going on this time because somewhere I've gotten connected to the wrong plan and nobody keeps sending me out stuff and nobody's picked it up yet. So it just was hilarious when you really thought about it. But you just got me thinking about how many things just go along like that when nobody who's on the job, it's no balance, no checks to nothing. Nobody's double checking anything. Because by now, like I said, I've been going through this for months. I mean, probably at least 6 months now trying to get physical therapy and they kept denying it based on this nonsense. So I just was like, this is too weird for me. But like I said, thank the Lord. Finally got to, I think, the right people within my insurance and within everything to hopefully get them to review this and reverse that decision and also then take out whatever is connecting me to this wrong, plan. But it just was hilarious to me at that point. And then just to end it, because I kind of like that there was a pattern going on with me with music, with these podcasts. And then I realized that a song had came out this week on my, just I had been in the car a few times, and this song I hadn't heard in a little while. I hadn't heard it. One again, always, I pretty much only hear songs I listen to most of the time. But this song I hadn't heard in a minute, but I always think of it as such a positive. We were talking about things being positive, put good energy out here. And if you haven't heard it, I would advise listening to it, even if you don't listen and like this type of music. I would listen to it because the lyrics are so powerful to promote positivity and good energy. And it's a song called Miracles by a group called Mumble Sauce. I think their name was Mamble Sauce, something like that. But it's an older song. Early, I guess, early 2000s maybe it came out. And it sort of had a little um what's the type of genre this song is? I can't think of it right now. I'm gonna try to see if I can maybe, put it in the beginning of this podcast just a little bit. Maybe so I don't get, nicked for copyright, they are with that. But I'm just gonna put like a teeny little bit of what he says, because it's particularly what the guy says. All of them say, but the verse for him is real interesting about the everything being like a little bit of an opposite he does, where he's talking about there's the difference between and can. It's just the apostrophe T, sort of like with do and you don't. It's just that apostrophe that you put in there when you can, when you can instead of can't, and when you can do instead of don't. And in a little bit, I'm paraphrasing for sure on it because I can't like remember it all right now. But it kept coming up on my playlist this week, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I hadn't really been hearing the song, and there it was playing up again, and I do love it. I do love it because I do love that the messaging from it is just really positive and it's all about if you believe if you can, that kind of thing. Just uplifting, is everything with positive, with my channel is trying to be. So I just thought it just fit for this week with, believing and moving forward, and instead of saying things won't work, I said they will. I just kept saying that this week. Things that normally I might say, oh geez, that excuse me, that may not work or whatever. But this week I was just like, everything will work out. I don't even know how it's going to. And so many things did. I mean, well, since I look like, oh, geez, this conversation went a little longer than I wanted this time. So I'm going to cut it off right there and say, see you guys next time. Hope you have a great week. And until next week, everybody stay positive. Bye.